All right, it looks like we are a go. Good morning. Happy Friday, the almost end of August. We're so excited to have with us today in the Proper Romance Book Club author. Oh, I got to point to the right sides. This way, author Julie Wright, that one. Yay. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. For those of you that have been following along in the book club this month, I actually got to meet Julie earlier this month, and I've met you in person before, and you're always a delight. But it was really fun to get to kind of chat this book for a second and do that reel with you as well. But we are going to be talking about this beautiful, beautiful book, Wendy's Ever After, today. But let's see if people start joining us. So if anyone starts watching us live, we'll give a minute for people to realize we're here chatting. Go ahead and put in the comments your name and where you're watching us from. So, okay, Mara's our good morning, Mara. Always good to have Mara. So we'll just give a minute for some people to join in and say hello. I will say, just a reminder that every comment on today's live post and on the post that we've been doing from Julie throughout the month does enter you into an advanced copy of Esther Hatch's first proper romance.
You will want that because Esther is everything. She's such a great writer.
It's true. And I got to beta read that one. And so let me just tell you guys, like, Esther delivers. Esther delivers.
You want that. You want
it. You want that book, so make sure you comment. Plus, you want to comment and hang out with us. So, yay! It looks like we're getting a few people. Welcome, Nancy. Welcome, Wendy. So fun to have faces, people. I guess I'm not really seeing faces. If you guys haven't figured out, I'm here, Julie. I say the weirdest things. So we're good. Anyways, Julie, we're so excited to have you. So thank you for joining us. Okay. To kick it off, I do have to point out your shirt. Tell me about your shirt, Neverland. It's so appropriate.
This is my Neverland map. It's the map of Neverland. I don't know if you can see.
I love it. So that's so fun. It's so perfect.
Thanks.
Okay, so that kind of is I feel like a good place to ask. Have you always loved Peter Pan?
Always. And it's interesting because I have always loved the original. I read a lot of original books because my grandma had a lovely little library of children's books, and that was just in there. So, I read things like Black Beauty and Heidi and The Secret Garden and, all the cry books, where the red fern grows, the ones that rip your soul out and make you rethink life in general. But Peter Pan was there and I loved it. I loved the just escapism of it, but I always thought that Peter was a punk. So I always worried about Wendy a little bit. I'm like, Wendy, no, that kid is bad news. I don't care if he can fly. He seriously dropped one of your brothers while flying to Neverland. He is not a great guy. So I've always been a little bit worried about her. It's like, is she okay? Does she have trauma? I don't know. So yeah, such a fan.
I love that. I'm going to say right here too, spoilers for anyone watching this. We are going to talk about scenes and like spoilers of the book because what you just said actually like is a part I wanted to comment on. So, just everybody watching, spoilers ahead, right? We can do like ahoy, spoilers ahead. Okay, one of my favorite things in this book was that you did explore Peter as a punk. Yes, okay. I thought that was so funny because you take this character, I feel like the Disney version, right? Like fun, wild Peter kid, and in this
fall in love with the Disney version.
Yeah.
The Disney version is very crushable as a young girl. But the real version is like, no, seriously, he dropped your brother on the way to Neverland and then laughed about it with Tinkerbell. They're like, ha, isn't that funny? It's like, dude, no, you can't drop a kid in the ocean. That's not okay. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you kind of incorporate that. Even with his, again, spoilers, like the moment when he like makes himself an adult. It was very immature of him in his like, oh, I can be mature and be an adult. And I thought that was funny. Except I will say you did a good job of making him kind of a hunky Peter Pan as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
I understood. dilemma.
Wow. If I'd known you could grow up to look like that, we would have done this a lot sooner.
Yeah.
When she's like, nope, this isn't going to work for me. And he flips back and he's like, you ruined the game, Wendy. He's just all angry because she messed up his fun game. And for him, it really is just a game. He's just super immature.
Yeah. We're going to kind of just jump right into this. Can we also talk about how, with that kind of the way you painted his character in here? So for those that have read along, what's really fun about this story is we get to explore Captain Hook a little bit as well and his backstory. So his backstory is connected to Peter. And I just wanted to ask, how did you come up with that? Like, what was your inspiration for making the history between Peter and Hook like pivotal in this book?
How did I come up with that? Well, I was trying to figure out a way to make Captain Hook pseudo-redeemable.
Okay.
Because I had lots of iterations of this book. So spoiler, but not spoiler, because I didn't end up doing it. I wrote it and then I deleted it because I'm like, fans will never forgive me. Fans of Peter Pan will never forgive me. I killed Peter in my first draft. Yeah, totally just murdered him. And at Captain Hook's hand, it was a great scene. I'm not gonna lie. It's like I actually saved it. So when I deleted it, I didn't really delete it. I took it and I saved it in another file because it was a great scene where Peter dies. And it's like, no, that just happened. And I got up and I walked around in a minute and I'm like, okay, because I had made them so connected and they're friends. And I wanted Captain Hook to be semi-redeemable, but then he has his revenge moment and then realizes he backpedals very quickly. I'm like, okay, that worked for me. But no one will forgive me that I killed Peter. And I mean, it's Neverland. Things have a way of bouncing back in Neverland. I knew he was going to be fine, but because it's Neverland, that's what happens.
Yeah. Can you really die in Neverland?
Yeah, I mean, it's Neverland, but at the same time, it was a really big deal. But I wanted there to be, because in my mind, while I was writing it, up to that point, I knew I was going to do that. That was always the plan until I did it. And I'm like, nope, that cannot be the plan. Abort, mayday, that's not going to work. So I changed it, but I always wanted there to be something about their connection to be genuine and real, to have them have a real friendship, to have them have something where they owe each other something a little bit, where that friendship and that connection matters on a deep emotional level. So that was kind of where that came from, is because I knew that was where I was driving to until I got there. And then I'm like, nope, that is a car crash. That's a train wreck. That is a walk away. So, but I still liked that they were friends. And I liked that their backstory was a little richer that way.
Yeah. When I got to that part in the book and that started to reveal, that really like emotionally grabbed me for them. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, and there's this whole concept, actually, I really love. So for those of you watching too, you can put questions, by the way, what you guys want to ask Julie about this book, please ask away. But I'm also, remember how I showed off how beautiful this book already is? I'm going to show it off again here, though, by the way. Guys, this cover, I promise this leads into what Julie just said, too, by the way. This cover is absolutely gorgeous. Super proud of this, too. Congrats, Julie.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Really fast before I show you what I was getting at. Look how cute the wrong way inside artwork is. And then these awesome little chapter dividers, which will come back. But in the book, it has some discussion questions. And kind of what you just said, I really loved this question in the discussion questions, where it says, so much of this story is about the difference between childhood and adulthood. And I feel like, like when we saw that with Peter and Hook, I mean, you kind of get that in the original, but Wendy in this book too, like it's like going back to Neverland, but she's this grown woman. We've got this adult romance. So it says, Wendy decides by the end of the book that she is glad to grow up. Peter insists that it's better not to change. What do you think is right? Are there things children do better or more intuitively than adults? And what benefits come from aging? I kind of wanted to talk about that one with you, if you're okay with it, because I loved that. I loved that whole concept in this story too, because it really made me reflect on it and as you were going. So Wendy decides to grow up. Also, I was happy because I really liked Liam.
Yeah. He's a great hero. So have a crush on that guy. He's pretty great. So, okay, give me the question.
Okay,
again.
sorry. So the question is, in that question there, so Wendy decides by the end of the book she's glad to grow up, but Peter insists it's better not to change. So which do you think is right? I kind of just want to talk, I think that's a good discussion question about this. By the way, people are loving Liam in the comments.
Oh yeah,
Liam, we'll get back to Liam.
That's why I actually got to the question. I forgot because I'm like, you distracted me with Liam.
Yeah, I teased Liam. We'll come back to Liam. We'll come back, I promise.
No, in love with Liam. It's like, yeah, whew, he's lovely. He's a lovely man.
He really is.
Seriously, going back to Liam. Like,
let's just do Liam. Scratch the other question. Let's just do Liam. Fast. The people want Liam too. So.
In the dance where he writes on her dance card, it's a friend of, Mrs. Connolly, the man in the black mask, the handsome man, Liam, my mother's son. I mean, he's hilarious. And he's just charming from the beginning. Such a great romantic hero because he's funny, he's sweet, he's genuine. He really does think he's doing the right thing, even though it's kind of for the wrong reasons. He's Hook's protege. He's the heir to the Captain Hook throne. And so he's got a little bit of misguidance there, but he's also really, really great. And he is kind of true north kind of personality, and I really like him. I think, yeah, okay, there we go. I'm done.
No, we're gonna stand it. The people want Liam, so I'm like, that's better than my question.
No, your question's good. I just had to get that out of my system.
No, we gotta talk to Liam here. People by the way are like, I love that scene. The dance card was so fun. Okay, one of my favorite things is how they meet, and because Wendy's kind of like, there's not any guys, and I think in a way, she remembers Peter and that kind of like first like love, going into it or whatever. This is, kind of how I felt in this part of the book. But I love their meet cute, like you're saying, and then she's like, oh, but when she finds out he's a pirate, and she gets like kind of mad, and it becomes a little enemies to lovers. Like I just loved that. I loved her like. And then, how dare you? Yeah,
pirates are not a part of my. Yeah, I love.
But part of what I loved though was seeing how Wendy realized pirates weren't so like black and white either.
Mm-hmm.
So like Liam learned, but I also loved also that Wendy kind of got to see like, oh wait, Peter's not always right? She kind of had her like. That revealed like Peter's a little childish, immature, not necessarily the best thing for these kids, and Liam's just heart of gold with wanting the kids, even if it was a little misled sometimes.
So cute. I love him so much. He's so great. He was so much fun to write. I was actually really sad to go because when I ended it, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. That was actually really hard for me. Sometimes it's like, oh. No, wait, come back. This is why authors do sequels, probably, is because we fall in love with our own places and we're like, oh, I need to go back there. That was a fun place. I want to visit again.
So
no, don't have a sequel. No.
I was going to say that is on one of the posts in the club this month. Amy Jacobs asked, do you think there's going to be a sequel to this book? I loved it so much.
That would be great. I need to think of a plot though, because I would love to revisit. It was a fun world and I enjoyed being in it. So I am not opposed to coming up with a plot that would work, but I would need something that would work. It would have to be the right story in order to make, because you don't want to just write a sequel for the sake of a sequel. You want to write something that's going to be meaningful and true and
and make it live up to the expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you always know that Liam, the hero, was going to be Hook's protege? Like, did you always know you wanted to have that pirate, or did his character? Okay, that was pretty from the get-go.
That was from that. In fact, this book actually came to be because I was writing a fairy tale anthology. I was writing a fairy tale novella for an anthology that was going to be. It was a charity anthology.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So I was writing that and I came up with, and I was coming up with plot ideas. I was just brainstorming plot ideas. I'm like, I love Peter Pan. That would be super fun to do something. And then the more I thought about this one, the more I thought that requires a whole book. There's a lot to tell here. And so I'm going to need to do something different. So then I pitched it to my product manager, Heidi, and she's like, done, sold, let's do this. And she is so great. She's always on board with everything I want to do. I mean, and I flip genres pretty fast. I'm kind of bright and shiny and chasing after the new.
Well, I've loved everything you write, so
I'm like, here, let me write science fiction. Here, I want to do fantasy. Here, what about a murder mystery? I think I could try. I really gotta, I think that sometimes the publisher is just like, seriously, Julie, girl, just stick with the thing for a minute. That would be awesome for us if you would do that. So, but I am really grateful for them and the fact that they just like, okay, Julie, sure, we'll follow wherever crazy path you're leading us down now. I'm the hiker you don't want to hike with, because I'm going to lead you over places that will probably get you killed and falling into deep ravines and,
the make the news kind of stories.
Yeah, I'm that. That's the who I am.
That's fine. Well, I've enjoyed from lies Jane Austen told me all the way down to this one. I'm a fan, but you have been writing, the last few books at least have been YA. So this one is, like the fantasy because it's, got the Neverland and everything. But what can you tell us what you've been enjoying about writing YA? Because I feel like The Art of Us, and Swimming in the Sea of Stars, those last couple books, I've read both and they're fantastic too.
Thank you. Swimming in a Sea of Stars is my heart book. It's the book that is my most important book. So it's like a love letter to myself for giving myself a future, because I had severe depression as a youth, a lot of suicidal ideation. Super glad I'm still here. And
Same. We are too. Big hug.
Thanks. I'm glad I'm here. So I've actually written YA for my very first book that I wrote was YA, because I was 15 when I wrote it. So yeah, I'm not totally telling you the title of that because it did get published, and I'm super embarrassed by it because I was 15 when I wrote it.
That's amazing. I want to, if you don't tell us all, then you got to tell me at least off.
Yeah, I'll tell you off, but I'm not telling you all, because it's like, no, I don't want people seeing that ever. I'm so embarrassed that it exists in the world. It's just a little humiliating. But so I started out with YA, and that's kind of where my voice stayed. So I find that when I just need a break from whatever I'm writing, I will turn to, so I have like 7 YA novels that are unpublished right now that are just moldering on my hard drive, because I write them all the time. I actually really love the young adult genre. I love that time period of figuring out how you fit in the world and figuring out how the world works around you and your place, and finding that you matter and that you have value. So I don't know. I love that genre. I love that age group, and whether it's contemporary or whether it's fantasy or young science fiction or whatever, it doesn't matter where you put it. And that's another thing I love about the young adult market is kids read books. They don't go to the romance section. They don't go to the science fiction section. They're like, I go to the young adult section, and all the books are hanging out there together on awesome play dates. And I wish adults were more like that. I wish that we play dated our books more, where we're like, I could, because I'm very widely read. I read everything. In fact, there's Claudia Gray is a new author. She's not a new author. She's actually been around for forever, but I want her to be my best friend, but she actually has the Murder of Mr. Wickham. And who doesn't want to see Mr. Wickham die? It was awesome. Just saying. So we're in a book club thing. So anyway, but she's very prolific. She writes but a lot of it's young adult, and she's got science fiction and fantasy and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of, because it doesn't matter. When you're in the young adult market, you can write in whatever genre you want, because kids just read books. They're not genre specific yet. They haven't gotten to that point where they're like, I am a romance reader. I am a science fiction reader. And I kind of like that. I know that's a really long way to say all that, but yeah, I really like it.
I love it. There's some comments in here about people enjoying that too. Nancy said you're so good at all of the genres. All of them when we were talking about with the genres. Amy says, we're glad you're here and we can benefit from all of your life experiences. Just also such a kid at heart there. But that in of itself I feel like is an interesting thing and can even connect into this, right? Is that like Wendy's struggle is like how much of childhood to preserve and how much of like it's okay to go into adulthood. But I think
we can go back to that question.
That's right. Look, it came around.
like, hey, we're here.
What you did, Julie. Look how you did that.
You were so great, Mandy. You're like, and like, we're gonna bring this back around, girl.
I didn't even mean to. That was all you. That was awesome.
No, you're awesome.
But I think that that's true. Like, as a reader, I mean, I typically, like, at this point in my life, I'm like, I do love the romance. I'm like, I love, like, you know, I just want that happy ever after with that. But I do love sometimes just like genre hopping, like you said. And just every now and then it's almost like just like a palette refresh as a reader to just like get into something different. But I think that there's something to like what you said too about like kids just like YA, you know, giving something a chance, you know, like trying out a book, trying out an author. And I don't know, in Wendy's character, like you can see how it's good to be playful, you know, and like play Peter's games, but also there's like that point of like, okay, we got to be responsible, right? They had the dark fairy, like
it's
there was some danger. Yeah.
I love the dark fairy. That was fun.
How did you come up with the dark fairy?
Because Neverland was sick, I took all the brightest parts of Neverland and made them sick, basically. So the fairies, the mermaids, I took those parts, those elements that make Neverland bright and fun and adventurous, you know, that cute thing, and to give it a darker spin, kind of, I don't know, to show how sick it really was. Those really bright spots, and what's brighter than a pixie?
Yeah.
And the shiny little gorgeous pixie. Nothing's brighter than a pixie. So I don't know. That was kind of where that went. But as far as like the growing up part, going back to that, and that reaching that level of maturity where I think it's better to grow up. I don't know if you look back on your life. I mean, when I look back on my life and I think, oh, the mistakes of my youth, if I could go back and do it with my maturity now, I would youth so much better. And yet that fumbling, awkward nature of being young, it's a requirement to get to where you're at. And so I'm grateful for the awkward that I lived through, because it was, you know, and so much awkward. I was such a ridiculous youth. If you knew me as a kid, you wouldn't have wanted to be my friend. I was so lame.
Oh, I think I'd want to be your friend.
Oh, I don't know. I was pretty ridiculous. The few friends I had in high school that are still actually my best friends, they had to put up with so much. And I feel like I should constantly be sending them thank you cards. It's like, thanks guys for putting up with me. I was crazy, but they were really great. But there's a beauty in growing up. There's a beauty in change, and not everything staying the same. And even as I go through the stages I'm like, well, I really like this stage of life that I'm in right now. But then as I look forward, it's like, but what else? What if I like this next one better? And that whole, almost the adventure where, you know, Peter and Hook are all about the adventure of, well, what is the greatest adventure, you know, in your movie Hook. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Hook.
Oh, my favorite version of any Peter Pan is Robin Williams in Hook. Yeah.
And Maggie Smith, oh my gosh, did she play the best Wendy ever? And with that moment where she's at the top of the stairs and she's looking down and she's like, hello, boy. And I'm like, chills every time.
I just got chills from you saying that scene. I love that movie.
Great. Oh, she was the best Wendy we've ever had. Yeah. And I think it's fun that the younger Wendy, the moment there was a quick flashback, and that was Gwyneth Paltrow. And I didn't realize that until I was writing this book and rewatching all of my favorite Hook scenes. So
I didn't realize that either. And I'm like,
he's in there. So go back and watch. It's pretty great. And if you saw it in the theater, you actually saw the Hook going up the stairs and like this sparks going up as he's.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Because he cuts.
And it's not in the video. So I was so excited. And then I got the video when this is how old I am. It was VHS when it came out.
Don't worry, I'm right there with you.
I buy this VHS. I'm so excited to show it to my kids. And then that scene wasn't there. And I don't know if it was too dark, too scary. I don't know why they took it out, but it wasn't even in the deleted scenes. I was excited for when the DVDs finally came out, because I'm like, surely they'll put it in the deleted scenes. And then they didn't. And I'm still sad.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I know exactly what scene you're talking about. I really think I need to rewatch this movie now, though.
It's really great. It's a classic. It is perfect. But but that whole scene of just moving forward and finding, they're like, to die is a great adventure. Well, to live is a great adventure, and to live through every stage of life is a great adventure. So you have, childhood is fun. I'm glad I'm not there anymore. I'm glad that I'm menopausal old woman. I'm okay to be that. That's okay to play. That's a nice space to be. So I don't know. I look forward to whatever next adventure life takes me on.
I love that. And I love the idea that it is an adventure. I talk to like friends all the time. I'm like, it's just different seasons in life, you have like when you're a kid and the different things, and in your 20s and your 30s. And I'm staring at the next like great adventure and season of my life. And it's like you said, like sometimes you're like, oh, like I'd really love the energy of my youth right now.
I love that part.
But yeah, but like you said, and is like you related it back with Wendy, like you grow and you learn so much that those things like help you going into that next adventure, right? You take those and you learn from them and you go forward, and that's great. I love that. We did get a question in here. Oh, Nancy also says you have such a great imagination. So Wendy asked, how did you decide, this kind of going back with the Neverland being sick, how did you decide that it would be the death of the crocodile that was the root of Neverland being sick? And I thought of that too with Hook, because he's got the crocodile in that movie too.
Yeah. So I would love to take credit for that. I would love to. That would be really great if I could do that. I don't get to take credit for that. That was actually all Heidi. Heidi, my product manager, and Lisa Mangum, who's my editor, and Kelly Hansen, who's she's editor, product manager. She's a creative director. I don't know. But the three of them took me out to Cheesecake Factory. And it's so here's a fun little tidbit. When they want you to rewrite a book, it's always Cheesecake Factory. It's like,
so we don't want to go to the Cheesecake Factory.
You do, because at least you're going to have to do it whether you're doing it or not. At least this way you get dessert with it, and it's pretty great. It's actually really nice that they're like, yeah, we're going to give you something really hard to do, but we're going to make it taste good, so it's going to be fine. So we're all good. And then we sat there at that table and we brainstormed ideas. They're like, okay, well, there were various things that needed to happen. Because it used to be his point of view and her point of view. So it was back and forth. So I had an entire half of the book was Liam's point of view. And they're like, we would actually think this would be better if it was all from Wendy's point of view. So half of the book got thrown away, which was a little hard. Broke my heart a little bit. I'm like,
someday you need to do like your newsletter, like it's the bonus scenes, like our Death of Peter and our Liam chapters. I'm serious.
I totally do that. We need something a little bit stronger here at the end for why is Neverland sick? And we sat and brainstormed ideas, and that was all Heidi. Heidi came up with that. She's like, what if it's the crocodile tooth that he's wearing around his neck? And what if that's necklace? And what if it just needs to be returned from Neverland, because he basically stole this magic from Neverland, and that's why it's sick? And she's like, what? Because we did a whole lot of what if. Oh, but what if this happened? Oh, but maybe that happened. It was an amazing brainstorming session. And those three women are my total heroes, because they make me so much more clever than I ever am on my own. And they help shine things up. Something that would have been a good book, they helped me turn it around and make it what I consider a great book. They went from a good book, it was solid before, but now it's something special. And I really appreciate that they did that.
Well, I love that. We're going to be running out of time. So if anyone has any questions you want me to ask Julie, I'll give you a moment to put them in there. Amy's seconding bonus chapters. We should get some like little behind the scenes things. But to kind of close this out here, can you tell us what your very favorite thing about writing this book has been? Or maybe your favorite thing about this book for you? My favorite part of writing this book was Liam's humor. I think he's actually really funny. But I loved the Maze of Truth, honestly. I loved when they were falling in love with each other through the Maze of Truth.
and where it is just gut wrenching, where I have to, in order to save this person that they both want to save, they're both in it to win it, and they're dealing with this whole maze of truth where they have to be completely vulnerable. And that's a hard thing to do, I think, sometimes, to be vulnerable with other people. And especially where Wendy's already decided that she doesn't really like him because he's a pirate. She lets all of her bias and her prejudice take over her own first sense about this person. Because at the very beginning, she knew she cared about him. She knew
she liked him.
And then she finds out he's a pirate, and it's like, oh, all bets are off. I'm done with you now. She allows all of her previous bias to take over what she already instinctively knew about this person. And this is the moment where those biases, she was able to shed that a little bit and see him for who he really is. And I liked that a lot. I liked being able to write that connection between the two of them.
Yeah. And their comment here too, like they were just so vulnerable. I remember when I was reading that part of the book, I'm like, whew, like I'm imagining myself like, that's like probably like a real good date if you literally like had to just say it all, like get that truth out there. But
no, am I really compatible with this person?
Can I shed the, the armor there? Just a question connected with that. Amy asks, what about if Liam and Wendy get married and have kids? And then she says, we'll have to deal with some of those kid problems. They did kind of learn how they'd go. Like you said, they were invested in taking care of those kids, though. I love that. For the last question, we were asked on the Proper Romance Book Club page, do you have any plans of writing any other fairy tale retelling? Yes,
I'm actually working on a book called Capes and Curls right now. It is a Little Red Riding Hood meets Goldilocks.
I'm already in.
Story, and it's really fun. I also have a Wonderland book that I'm plotting it out right now, but I haven't started writing it. But I have a pretty solid plot on that one, so that one's plotted out. But Capes and Curls should actually be done pretty soon. So
we have something to look forward to from you. Yeah. Yay! Oh, well, thank you. People saying awesome and thumbs up in the comments. That makes me super excited. Well, thank you again, Julie, for joining us. And everybody that joined online, thank you guys for participating and joining us today. Wendy's Ever After is available everywhere now. So if you haven't read it, pick it up. Like I said, I'm personally sold on the beautiful, gorgeous physical version, but I actually have listened to the audio. I like to do rereads and listen through the audio, and the narration is fantastic.
Okay, really fast. I know we're done.
You're good. You're good. Spill
the audiobook artist, the woman who did the voiceover on that, she is actually a relative of J.M. Barrie's. And so Peter Pan lore is really huge in her family. She's a British actress. She is really, really fantastic. She was in Obi-Wan, the Disney series. Yeah, she's legit awesome actress, but with a gorgeous voice. And she wrote to me, and she was very grateful that she's like, I think my great, back there would be very proud of this book. So it was really kind of fun. How cool is that? What a compliment.
Oh my gosh. That's the coolest thing. I'm so glad you shared that. That is the coolest thing. And now as I'm listening, like I said, I've been rereading. I like to do a listen to the audio. That just makes me, oh my gosh, more excited.
You're listening to his descendant read these words, which is kind of cool. I think that's a fun little tie-in.
And what a legacy. What a legacy there. Oh, that's so cool. Well, I don't know how we can even, that's like a mic drop. So get yourself, if you have it, I mean, hopefully most of you, since you're participating in the book club, hope you've been doing this. We do have comments saying that the audio was amazing. Checked it out from the library. I need to get a copy. I encourage a copy. That's so fun. But thank you again, Julie. And thank you again, everyone. Don't forget to comment on everything this month. And then I'll be drawing that winner on Monday. September is here for Esther's book. But thanks again, Julie.
Thanks, Wendy. You're great. So good to have you.